It's a long story.
Wally did what?
Dennis Fisher, who was the practical joker of CFQC back in the day, he always used to just plan his little practical jokes with such precision, like the invasion of Normandy. This guy was so good at doing this thing. He called me in one day and he said, this is before Timmy's Telethon, and we did a thing called Shmockey Night, and I think a few communities did that. Did you ever do that in the days where the radio station personalities would go out on the ice and we'd have this stupid game against whoever the local hockey teams? And they went hockey, schmockey. It was just a fun thing, right?
Okay.
So these things became an annual thing called Shmockey Night. The bigger nationals, in bigger Saskatchewan, who has the sign, New York is big, but this is bigger. They invited CFQC to go out and play a game of Shmockey Night.
Oh, good deal. Yeah.
So Dennis Fisher calls me into his office, and at that time I'm driving a black Stratochief Pontiac.
I remember it.
Yeah, and he said, you're not going to Shmockey Night with the bus. And I went, what? He said, no. He says, you're going to go out ahead of time. Here's what we're going to do. Wally Stanbuck had been stopped so many times drinking on the job, drinking in the car. And because he was Wally and everybody knew him, he was getting off scot-free. Mm-hmm. And of course, remember, that was the early 60s, and that was never really as serious as it is today.
Yeah.
But he says, his time is coming up pretty soon where he's going to get nailed. The last thing he wants to be caught is drinking beer. Now, he says, when you get in the bus, everybody's going to have a beer, and they're going to crack those beers. And again, you cannot legally be in a bus, although everybody did it, drinking liquor. So he says, between you and me and the bus driver, nobody knows about this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set you up about 2 miles outside of Saskatoon on the way to Bigger. It's going to be at night, wintertime. He's got a Mountie fur hat. He's got a pair of nylon pullovers where he's put yellow stripes up the side. He gave me a tunic that looks like an RCMP tunic. And he says,
too much.
And one of those camper red lights that revolve around. He says, you're going to put this on your fender of your car, and at night it's going to look like a cop car. When the bus comes down the road, you're going to flag it down, and you're going to get on the bus, and you're going to scare the shit out of Wally. He's going to think, this is it, I've had it. Now, he says, it's going to be dark, and the only way you're going to know that there's a lot of traffic coming along the way, the only way you're going to know this is the bus driver is going to stop at this intersection just before it turns this corner. He's going to shut his lights off, and he's going to turn them back on again. That's your signal. So I'm thinking, okay, fine. So I get a little mascara mustache, and I put it on. I look like Sergeant Preston of the Yukon. I look pretty damn authentic. My wife, Diane, is in the car with me because we could bring our wives. So that night, I go out ahead of time. It's an hour before the bus is supposed to come out. We get all settled in. We sit down and we wait. But he didn't tell me that there's a whole stand of trees around this corner. And so every car that came through, of course, the lights kept coming off and on because they kept coming in behind these trees. So I'm totally screwed. I can't tell which is which coming by the roof. So I have to take a guess. I see this big vehicle coming down the road, and then lights on, lights on, lights on. Oh, this is it. So I stand out in the middle of the road, and I've got my red flashlight, and I start waving it down, and it's a big semi truck, and it's like, and the guy's coming down with like 16 brakes, those things, and he goes past me, and he's still stopping. He's 100 yards down the road, and he gets out on the running board of the car, and I'm going, keep moving, keep moving. I'm thinking, oh my God, if this guy ever comes by, he's gonna deck me.